Teachers of Reddit, what are some of the weirdest things you've confiscated from a student? A sugar glider. Kept hearing a high-pitched squeak in class. Noticed she had a small animal in her jacket pocket when it decided to poke its head out. A little orange lizard in a box with a Charizard Pokémon card taped to it. Edit. To clarify, the card was taped to the box. Edit. Wow, this blew up. Now I understand the meaning of inbox spammed. To the box or the lizard? To the box. What a disgusting lack of commitment. A homemade arrow made with a pencil and a modified razor blade. Was this in prison? Nope. High school in Average Town, USA. My father took a cleaver off a student. My dad was doing lunch duty and saw the kid open his jacket and motion his buddies to have a look. Turns out there was going to be a fight after school. My dad knew the kid and asked him to step into the hallway. He got the cleaver off the kid and took him to the office. I'm not sure what his punishment was, but pre-Columbine, so who knows. In 7th grade I accidentally brought a hunting knife to school. I'd been playing with it at home, flipping it and trying to catch it by the handle. I was doing this while it was fastened in a sheath, so no danger or anything. Well, I missed and dropped it. Couldn't find where it went and figured I'd just find it later. Well, I forgot about it. Fast forward about a week. It's the end of the day and I'm cleaning out my backpack at school. Found the knife at the bottom of the bag. Yeah. I'd been carrying the thing to and from school for a week and didn't know. I just shoved it back into the bag before anyone saw and then took it out once I got home. So lucky I didn't get caught with it. Not confiscated but actually given as a gift. A bag of her hair. A bag of every strand of hair she's had cut since birth. That's probably the oddest one here, honestly. It was definitely the weirdest thing I've ever received as a gift. She was so excited about it. 2. I knew the mom well, so I messaged her asking if she had meant to give that to me. Apparently, she had stolen it from her keepsake box. I happily returned it. Not gagging over it was the hardest thing ever. Especially because I was newly pregnant and had awful morning sickness. A pencil with a bunch of glued on DCK shaped confetti. There's DCK shaped confetti. You've obviously never seen a bachelorette party. Everything you can possibly imagine comes in DCK shape. The naked lady booby lighter. Kid was 7th or 8th grade in an alternative school setting. He was always sneaking stuff in his pockets and getting it taken up. We are walking to lunch and my assistant stops suddenly. He comes back with a metal naked woman torso in his hand. You could press one boob and the flame came out of the other. It was fantastic. It was super popular in the office for the few days until mom came to pick it up. She was really glad to get family heirloom back. A white lacy thong from a kindergartner. She was wearing it on her head. Not a teacher but a kid brought a human skull to school. I think the teacher just had a conversation with him about it. Edit to answer some questions. The skull was real. The kid was a baddie. His folks were more likely meth cooks than doctors. Didn't get donated. The school in question was near a rural mountain area where a lot of people lived who wanted to be left alone. The provenance of the skull was, at the most conservative, dubious. A raccoon penis toothpick. He kept poking other kids with it. Sigh. What? Most mammals have bones in their penis. Look up walrus if you want to be amazed. So they kill the coon. Cut its CCK. Carve the bone. Sorry. I couldn't think of a C word for bones. Open bracket. Edit. Guys. Thanks for all the replies. I know it's baculum. Just didn't think it would help OP. Also thanks for fixing my poor attempt at doggerel. Everyone. Not really bizarre, but very memorable. I had to take a water bottle that contained some type of fruity vodka. Had to smell it to be sure. I only knew to check because the student was recognizably drunk. This was an 8th grader. Edit. Whoa. This blew up. My top comment is now officially about underage drinking in school. Too many comments to respond to all of them. But yes, it is common. A teacher catching it is not always as common though. A taxidermied kookaburra. She taught herself how to do it from books. It was not done well. Edit. Just to clarify. Apparently it was dead, having been hit by a car, when she found it. Camp counselor here. We have permission to go through bags to confiscate prohibited items like food and electronics and knives. One girl had a Tupperware full of what looked like the oldest peanut butter imaginable smeared all over the Tupperware. I brought it to my co-workers. And we all tried to smell it. But it smelled different to all of us. Literally no clue what this shit was. Asked the girl about it one day and she goes, that's my plant. Like it's obvious. Apparently it was some kind of fungus or algae to apply to sunburns. Edit. It's in the woods. They can't keep food on them because of bears and other wildlife. We aren't starving them. I promise. A bottle of passion fruit lube brought in by a 4-year-old. Making all her friends smell her fruity hand cream. Poor mama must have had a long night and mixed up her eczema cream. A brick decorated with hentai in the locker of a 14-year-old boy. He was very different, that kid. Not a confiscation, but when my 4-5-year-olds were getting changed for pee. A little girl opened Jer bag and out fell a bunch of very style lingerie. 10 minutes later at the window I have a very red mum with the correct kit in hand saying she mixed up the dry cleaning with the daughter's pee. Kit. I pretended I hadn't seen. Bonus. In grade school I had 2 really close friends named Juan and Nick. Here is a picture of us. https imgur.com kv9i with jpg that I love with me in the front. Then Juan. And then Nick. The 3 of us were really close and bonded about our shared nerdy interests of reading Star Wars and The Simpsons. We also really enjoyed drawing. I don't remember how it started exactly, but we ended up making this notebook that we passed back and forth between us. It was a comic about a guy named Tom and his cat. We would each take turns doing a strip of a few panels and then hand it over. Here is a quick drawing I did of Tom on my phone. https imgur.com atg hamod png so you can get an idea of what he looked like. The comic was about the everyday life of Tom and it was extremely mundane. It was things like Tom tries to decide on a shirt or Tom dropped the cat food on the floor. It was really dumb stuff. But the 3 of us found it so hilarious because we were weird kids. One day our teacher caught us with the notebook and confiscated it from us. She never said a word about it. But I bet when she looked through that thing she probably thought it was the weirdest fucking thing ever. Especially since we were laughing hysterically at it when she took it from us. Student was trying to stick a large suction cup dildo, like the ones you use in the shower, to another student's locker. He actually asked what the problem was. When I was in school my English teacher confiscated 50 Shades of Grey off another pupil during our silent reading time. We would have been in year 7 or 8 at the time. My classmate, who was the dumbest class clown, tried to kick off about it and asked the teacher why it being taken away and the teacher calmly said, double quote, "I'm not letting you read that. It's terribly written. It's as if it's been written by someone on a train." Edited. I did not. I teach little ones, so nothing nearly as risque as some of the others in this thread. I've confiscated handcuffs, a wrench, baby bottles, and a variety of bugs and small animals the kiddos caught out at recess. A colleague confiscated an adult movie from a 5-year-old. The kid didn't know what it was, didn't even know that it was a videotape, or anything about it. It just still looked cool, the tape itself. He didn't know of the content. It wasn't exactly a confiscation. Some of my students thought it would be a good idea to bring me 2 chickens. 2 live chickens. They knew my daughter had a pet duck that had recently died. So this was their idea to help us get past the grief. I had to keep them in a carrier in my classroom closet in the dark just so they would be quiet. The chickens. Not the kids. By the end of the day I found a kid with a grandmother that had a farm. She took the chickens home. Edit. Here's her duck in better days. https imgur.com/5zy6wl JPG. When teaching pre-K I had to confiscate a grenade. There was very serious confusion and terror when I saw him and told my aide that Timmy is holding a grenade. No, not a toy. Timmy. Name confidential. What do you have there, buddy? He tells me excitedly that it's a grenade. I asked him where he got it and he said he found it in the trees by his house. You know, as you do in Midwest America. Just find grenades in the trees. I made him give it to me immediately. It turned out to be hollowed out and I believe it was a World War II pineapple grenade. His mom called maybe 4 hours later to tell us, hey, I forgot to mention Timmy wanted to bring his grenade to school. You all can just put it in his cubby. She also explained that he just found it. I still can't believe that happened. How do you just find a grenade? Why do you let your child bring it to school? So many other questions. I had to confiscate an 11th grader's laptop because she was going to mature theme chat rooms during class. Specifically ones for married men looking to chat with young girls. Yee. Then, after she wasn't allowed to bring her laptop or phone to school anymore, she later got banned from school Chromebooks for doing it again. She was not very bright. I'm not a teacher, but when I was in HS one of the teachers saw a kid snorting coke off his desk. Came by, slammed his hand on his desk and said, "No." Told him to stay after class. Instead of reporting him to the principal and fucking up his life, he threw away what was left in the baggie and basically told the kid he shouldn't do drugs and don't ever bring this shit into my classroom again. Didn't confiscate anything, but I'm a sub. And a few weeks ago, I was at a rough school and I heard one kid whisper to another kid, "Hey, I'd like to place an order." Shit. So, I'm keeping an eye on him. And then another kid says, "Oh yeah, I need some too." I ask them what they're doing. The kid taking the orders says, "Pizza." Sure. Anyways, I continue to eavesdrop. At one point, he's on his iPad and I sneak behind him to see what he's looking at. He is straight up on the Domino's website. I guess he had just gotten a job there and was using his discount or something. Which I'm pretty sure his boss wouldn't be happy with. But it wasn't what I thought it was. Not a teacher but someone who helps 5th graders adapting to their new school. We usually are a team of 5 or 6 older pupils who look after one class. Anyways, one day one of these kids wasn't paying attention to us and constantly playing with something under his desk. I then took it and it was 2 phones tied together back to back with rubber bands. To this day I don't know what this construction was for. A can of Axe. Only because he sprayed another student with it. And to be fair to the student doing the spraying, the other student had gym class the previous period. And had not changed out or showered. He did smell, in the words of the Axe spraying student, double quote, like a dead rotting moose. But after the spraying he smelled like a dead rotting moose that had been sprayed with Axe body spray. It was not an improvement. This happened in the classroom where someone once optimistically hung up a green apple scented Wonderbaum. That also did not help. One of my students brought in a human anatomy textbook. And when he walked into class he has it open to the page with diagrams and anatomical drawings of the female genitalia. This was in 1st grade by the way. I just held onto it for the day and sent it home with a note. This same student also brought a DVD copy of The Mummy during the first week of school lol. Haven't taught in a few years but for the most part pretty normal stuff. Booze, weed, cigarettes, etc. At one point though caught a student passing a stack of hentai DVDs to another kid which was just like awkward on so many levels. Basically had his backpack full of various porn DVDs which I figure he was selling to other kids. As he was an 18-year-old senior and could buy that stuff legally. Never got the full story. Sent him to the principal's office and he wound up getting expelled. Student here. Not really confiscated. But it was pretty funny. This happened back in year 7, age 10-11. One of my friend named Same regularly printed off pictures of attractive women and Sonic. He would take them home and probably bust a nut to them at the age of 10. Anyway, it was lunchtime, so me and my friends went to the computer room. Same decided to use this time to print off a picture of a very busy woman wearing a bikini. By the way, this classroom was very open. I do not know how he managed to not get caught. Turns out the assistant principal was standing next to the printer and noticed the picture. I remember we were quietly laughing and telling Same he is so fact. She held up the picture in front of the room and asked who printed the pic off. Everyone in the room began to snicker to the point where she too tried to hold back a laugh. No one claimed responsibility. But eventually a new rule was put up. Those who print off pictures of a sexual nature and are caught would have to do reception duty. Same survived that event. Sadly, he disappeared in year 8. Never to be seen by me or my friends. This was about 6-7 years ago. I'm a student. But me and my friends thought it was a good idea to make a slingshot type thing and shoot it at each other using it. It was made with a binder, a rubber band and really sharp pencils. We even shot nails and other found items. We got found on lunch recess shooting at each other. Got it taken away and dismantled. We just made more. Teacher here. I confiscated weed during my first year of teaching, which, admittedly, isn't too terribly odd. The odd part was that it was in an old pill bottle with the words, double quote, weed, for use by student's name. And then, under that, it was signed by his mom. We clearly brought the mom in to pick him up, deal with the paperwork and the police, and she did confirm that she gave him the weed to cool him down. During the school day, she was selling the kid's actual medication on the side and explained to us, the school officials and the officer, that weed basically did the same thing as his drugs, so, like, whatever. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life because she just couldn't understand what she had done wrong or why the officer was arresting her.